Hello, everyone on the internet, and thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Master Bushido, and with my other Toku Bro on the other side of it, Flayvaman!
Power Rangers Dino Charge.
Anyway, welcome to part 2 of March's Toku Talk!
Oh, we're not doing these in parts, man.
Okay, no,
It's
okay,
just
the second in March,
covering current Toku news, because we are so flash like that.
Anyway, so this is the
Although, mainly,
second
let's face
March.
it, we just feed the internet, really, and we talk about it, as well as watching whatever the hell we're watching, right?
Yeah, this way, you're very close to the camera, so it's like you're looking at my face.
Well, technically, I'm looking in the viewers' faces. In your faces! Because we're in your face with current Toku stuff.
So, starting off, other than Dino Charge, or if you want to, then...
I will start on Dino Charge, because you keep mugging me off every time I want to talk about Power Rangers. Right, so, yeah, alright. I mean, you know, most people in America and in the Western world, and maybe other places, yeah, they did get introduced to Toku via Power Rangers. I myself was an original Power Ranger fan, child growing up, and though, you know, like, I must have missed a few series after In Space, got back into it around SPD, and then I stopped watching it about halfway through RPM, which I thought was a really good series, but I just didn't finish it, but I will re-watch it at some point in the future. Missed everything.
For the sake for the viewers.
I watched one episode of Samurai, but didn't follow it since. And then Super Samurai finished a while back, and then I've actually been watching Dino Charge, and I am actually up to date on it. So episode 6 was aired last week. Episode 7 should be aired later this week.
For the benefit of the viewers, what's it? RPM is the equivalent of Goonja, Power Ranger Samurai is the equivalent of Shinkenja, SPD is the equivalent of Deca Ranger, and...
To be honest, I think we established this in a previous episode that I actually do call... I even call Deca Ranger SPD, just because.
Yeah.
Special Deca Ranger. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, I know, even though you're not much of a Power Ranger fan, I mean, again, around RPM, I got really into it, bearing in mind the previous Disney series were all rubbish. I actually thought RPM was a real ending on a high for Disney, but I'm not talking about those. I want to talk about Dino Charge.
I was going to mention something about Power Rangers after you talk about Dino Charge, because I have something to mention as well.
Why don't I just say it now?
No, because I don't want you to steal my thunder.
All right then.
After you.
Right. Fine. Okay. Well, so Dino Charge. I mean, up to episode 6 at the moment. I actually, you know, I like to sort of express my opinion so far. I mean, prior to episode 1, I saw a lot of hype going on. I mean, especially like where Kyoryuja, you know, I mean, it's been over for quite a while. I mean, Tokuja versus Kyoryuja is going to be out at some point quite soon. Well, to view, I mean, so I think it was already in the cinemas, but I meant on the Blu-ray. And pardon?
I think it's out on Raw.
I think I did see it out on Raw as well, actually. Anyway, so I think it's quite a good thing to sort of kick off with.
Okay, one opening. What did you think of it?
What, as in the opening song? You can't really... I mean, again, this isn't going to be like a proper review, apart from the fact that it's still a currently airing series.
Okay.
I mean, when it comes to Power Ranger themes, you know, I mean, during the Disney era, they went all out to make them sound different. But now that Saban Brands has taken over it again, they're all just going to be generic Power Rangers, and then they'll, like, throw in the name of the actual series in. So, yeah, they are, like, Power Rangers, I can't sing. But
Okay.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right. It's got a bit of flair to it, but at the end of the day, it's a Saban series, so they're not really going all out for. They never go all out for their opening themes.
What about what's it? So characters, and then do they? I never got to ask this. Are the uniforms slash suits different in appearance to?
It does change. I mean, well, they do actually make. They do actually recreate the. See, they do recreate the costumes when they do, a Power Ranger version. So you can actually tell that if you look carefully, you can tell the difference between a Power Ranger suit and a Super Sentai suit. I mean, you only have to look at Mighty Morphin to see how the Green Ranger's shield changes quality. I mean, that is really bad the way they do that. I mean, it doesn't even come close to the Sentai original. And that's Mighty Morphin, let alone whatever the hell they did in Dino Thunder and Super Megaforce. But with Dino Charge slash Kyoryuger, I might be deceiving myself, but in my opinion, I think the colours are a little stronger for the Kyoryuger suits. For the Dino Charge suits,
Really?
so the Kyoryuger suits.
Because I thought it looks brighter in Dino Charge.
You really took the mick out of how they differentiated Power Rangers from Shinkenja. But with at least with you can still tell the difference. I do think that Saban doesn't make an effort. I mean, when it came to the Disney series, it was really hard to tell the differences, depending on what was actually going on in the scene. But with Dino Charge, it's still obvious, but obviously with quality, they have obviously got better with it.
Just quickly touching then, so the difference in characters.
Right.
In your opinion?
In terms of the personalities, in terms of the actual...
what you've seen so far.
Okay, well, one thing I will say about the way they were introduced is it was less focused, but the characters in Dino Charge are definitely more, it's less about Red Ranger and it's more about the team, like what each individual member of the team has in terms of backstory, current personality, and just the general character. Because you look at Kyoryuger's main five, they all had like their sort of
mini story.
Their quirks. No, their quirks. They had like their quirks. Like Blue Ranger did the old man jokes. Black Ranger was the womanizer. Pink Ranger did have a bit of a tomboyish thing, but
and
still
Green was the samurai,
like,
basically.
Especially being like a rich girl. Whereas, there might not be as much backstory to Dino Charge, but the Dino Charge characters, apart from the Red Ranger. But and they've very recently established a backstory for the Blue Ranger, but for Pink, Black, and Green, not so much. I like the characters without a doubt. I mean, you've got the Red Ranger, who's very Indiana Jones-ish, even though he's now working at the restaurant that it's set in. I think the one that's got the biggest hype is the Pink Ranger. I mean, it's the first black girl playing a Pink Ranger, so that got a lot of hype. And, she's very... This is it, I won't say Kimberly, but, she's got a good mix of previous, female characters.
So if you could mesh two, would you say Kimberly meets who?
This is it, I'm not really sure. I'm just being general. I mean, you look at how the SPD girls were, it's kind of like that, sort of like a big mesh of different types of character. But I do actually think that Pink Ranger, her name's Shelby, she pulls it off really well. The actress does pull off the character really well. And, and the good thing about the current cast is that they are actually fans of Super Sentai, as is proven in all their Twitter and Instagram accounts. So I think that makes it a little more unique, and I can really see them. I can really see the passion coming through in this series compared to anything pre-RPM. And you know, again, that's bearing in mind I've not seen Samurai, Super Samurai, Megaforce, Super Megaforce, even though I've heard enough people pan those 4 series. I mean, of course,
Question.
I'm not going to pan.
I didn't know that there was such a thing as Super Samurai.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah.
I'm missing. Anyway.
Basically, Super Samurai was an extension of Samurai, basically, because I think where in Shinkenger they got they got the power up. They basically stretched that into a second series for Samurai, making it Super Samurai. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, going back to Dino Charge for the millionth time. Yeah, okay. I actually do like how, you know, the way they were introduced is you had pink and red in the same episode, followed by green on his own, and then black and blue were sort of knocking about in the background from the off anyway, you know, working at the museum, even though Shelby worked at the restaurant at the museum, which might sound a bit weird. But, you know, it's quite a disjointed origin story for the Rangers. I mean, when it comes to the villains, I think the robot. What's the robot's name? Sledge. You've got a robot called Sledge, which is basically a very watered down version of Lord Zed. If you're familiar with season 2
Is
of
that?
Mighty Morphin.
Hang on. Are you referring to Aigaron, the miserable knight?
What are you talking about? No, this is a Power Ranger exclusive main villain.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically you've still got, let me see, because like from Kyoryuja, you've still got
Candelia.
You've got Duggold, who's called Fury.
You got
You've
Candelia.
got Candelia, who's called Poisandra. Only in it was either episode 5 or 6, they introduced Lukryu. Can't remember the Power Ranger name. And then you got the the blue sad guy. I can't remember his name, but he's in it. Can't remember his name.
Which one? The Power Ranger name?
I can't remember the Power Ranger name,
Right.
no. Right, so that's 2 characters I can't remember the Power Ranger names of, but from Kyoryuja they came, but they don't have Chaos. Well, as of yet, they don't have Chaos.
Interesting.
No, so basically instead of Chaos, they've got this big clunky robot called Sledge. And then instead of Torin, they've got this ET lookalike thing called Keeper. And basically, you know, there's an origin story where Keeper comes to Earth and then hides out for like 1,000,000 years or something. But then set in present day, he's then got some woman, what was her name? Kendall or something. I probably should. I did remember make a note of the name. I just can't remember it right now. So basically, this ET lookalike has an assistant who people are already predicting is going to be Kyoryu Violet, but again, we don't know yet. I mean, because Kyoryu Sian, I think they're calling her the Aqua Ranger or something. I mean, her character's already been revealed on either Twitter or Instagram. But
forgive me, hang on a minute. But if they call her the Aqua Ranger, technically they can't because they've already. Oh no, they were the Alien Rangers, weren't they? Not Aqua.
I've no idea what you're talking about. Anyway,
basically,
so I'm gonna get back to talking about the actual series. So yeah, you know, they've basically done the villains like that, and then that's how they've done the main hero. But the one thing I will say is I know lots of people do not like comparing a Power Ranger series to its Sentai original. I mean, because even already I've heard people say Kyoryuja is not Dino Charge and Dino Charge is not Kyoryuja. And that's fair enough, but I will say, you know, even though bear in mind it's only on episode 6, it's not the easiest to compare. But where I did have like YouTube playlists where I would compare Deca Ranger to SPD, etc. I then uploaded my playlists to Facebook several years ago, and I copped it in the neck by a lot of Sentai purists for doing that. But I will say, there are some good similarities and differences, and there can be some good points and questions that I will pose to you. Bearing in mind you've not seen Dino Charge, nor are you really a Power Ranger fan. Like one thing I will say, I think it was either episode 4 or 5. They covered the villain of the week was the guy with one of the in Kyoryuja you had the guy who killed Kyoryu Black's friend.
Yes.
Right, so that was actually done very early. So that's already been done in Kyoryuja. That's already been done in Dino Charge.
But that was I thought that was introduced in like either the pilot or the second episode of Kyoryuja.
No, because again, that monster of the week, the crow face, dark, whatever, that was done. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't because again, remember the first few episodes concentrated on each individual ranger. You then sort of because it went around like in a sort of it sort of goes around like which ranger did they focus on each week. So so I mean, again, it was still quite early on, but it wasn't as early as say episode 4 or 5 because again we're only 6 episodes into Dino Charge, and they've already done this story. But again, you look at Ian Kyoryu Black. It was all about his friend who was the same actor as Gohan Black. So it's like took the guy hostage. He tries to point his gun to shoot, but he can't because he's thinking of his friend. Blah blah blah. They really cover, they sort of covered that, but rather than it being a friend, they basically said, oh, the Black Ranger doesn't know how to focus. So they did like a very sort of childish spin on it, and I did actually, in my opinion, I felt it worked. I mean, all right, sure, it's not going to appeal to a mature fan, someone who likes a more mature storyline. But when you think that it's aimed at American kids, whether they're as dumb as Japanese, dumber than Japanese kids, whatever. But I thought it was a good attempt to cover, without actually ripping off the storyline. Oh, Black Ranger has a friend that died, and this situation reminded him of when his friend got captured and killed, etc. I do think I think they have made a genuine effort to add a lot of originality while staying, somewhat close to the original. Not necessarily saying they are. I mean, again, one of the criticisms is the fact that you watch the end credits, it says, oh, based on Kyoryuja, whereas a lot of Sentai purists have really gone against that. But, because, I mean, obviously, a more appropriate end credit would be stock footage from Kyoryuja, but whatever. But I will say that, at first I kind of felt that, it is, I will be honest, I do feel that Dino Charge is getting very overestimated in the view of Power Ranger fans, because, again, I really liked RPM, for example. And then anything pre-Disney, like everything leading up to Disney, was very sort of hit and miss. Whereas, like SPD was actually a good series, believe it or not. Whether you liked it or not. And because I'm thinking the first Disney series was Ninja Storm, which did have some highs and lows. Yet Kyoryuja, I think 6 episodes in, hasn't done too bad. I mean, it's still got a lot of Saban hallmarks, like the dialogue's still a little poor. It's still quite it's still deliberately childish. I mean, the end of, I think it was either the end of episode 5 or 6, they just start running around and giggling, which was a bit like random. And, I think, because one thing that I think lets down all Power Ranger series, minus a few, is like the poor dialogue between like events that form the episode. So, and I will talk about Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, which I think has the same problem. I'll talk about that later. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I mean, it's not as sort of as grandeur as anything Toei would do in Japan, but I don't think they're doing a bad job. And the one other thing, and I'm actually going to wrap up talking about Dino Charge.
Right. Now, I was going to say, would you continue watching the whole series, though?
I think, yeah. I mean, this is it. I am apart from like just watching it out of interest. I actually will, because if I'm honest, bearing in mind I haven't seen Samurai Super Samurai Megaforce Super Megaforce. Even seeing all the hype behind Dino Charge, I wasn't planning on watching it. Then I saw how easily available it was to stream, so I thought, right, click, and then I just ended up watching the first episode for 20 minutes. So it was more an ease of access that I ended up watching it in the first place. And the fact that I'm actually like, oh, this ain't too bad, I'm actually going to keep on watching it, see how it progresses. Bearing in mind that Kyoryuger didn't end that long ago. Well, it ended just over a year ago. The one more thing I'm going to cover in terms, like I talked about the Ian storyline and how they sort of wallpapered over it in Dino Charge, is the general theme of the villains, Kyoryuger versus Dino Charge. I actually think that the way they're doing it for Dino Charge is you've got the main villain, the general Sledge. He's on a spaceship, and he's basically, I think they've done this in Power Rangers a few times before. Basically, it's one general with loads of monsters of the week in prison cells, and he just picks one randomly every so often. And again, they've done this in Power Rangers quite a lot over the years. Whereas you look at Kyoryuger, you basically had Doggold that represented anger. You had the tear-shaped one, the blue guy.
I got on.
Yeah, him. He represented something like sadness or something. And then you had Candelaria, who represented love, and the green one, Luckyu, represented luck.
Candelaria was happy.
Yeah, love, happiness, whatever. But you see, but when you look at how they sort of like, all right, you're going to do a monster this week, you're going to do a monster this week, you're going to do a monster this week. I always felt it was always quite a stretch in the way that they would try to associate a certain monster with a certain emotion.
Explain.
Because all right, this is Doggold's thing. This is why this monster represents anger. Sometimes it did all right, but sometimes it was a bit of a stretch.
Wait, in Power Rangers?
Now, Dino... No, I'm talking about Kyoryuger there. But Dino Charge does not have this problem, because each of those villains, each of those commanders, are not associated... in Power Rangers, they're not... In Dino Charge, they are not associated with an emotion like they were in Kyoryuger. So when Sledge picks a random monster, it doesn't have to be because, I want you to encourage anger, I want you to encourage happiness. And you had the thing in Kyoryuger about Deboth learning about human emotion. So Dino Charge is not being that deep. It's still trying to be a fun, childish series. And the fact that they're not basing the monsters of the week on an emotion, it's just a monster of the week, ha ha ha, I want to get the Dino Gems. They've kept it simple, and I do believe it pays off, because it's not so much of a stretch to associate a certain monster with a certain emotion. They're literally just going around causing havoc, and then the Rangers have to come along and save the day, which does make it a bit shallow, put it that way. It does make it a bit shallow, but it makes it less restrictive when you think about it, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
What do you... I mean, me asking you a question. When you look at Kyoryuger, the way that each monster had to be associated with an emotion based on the commander that they were acting under. So if it was Doggold saying, my monster of the week's going to wreck havoc, or the same with Candelaria or Igalon. Yeah, so they were like, my monster's going to do the business for you, General Chaos, Master Chaos, whatever, Chaos Summer. But, again, sometimes it's like, this monster's like, what? Because the last monster they did in Dino Charge was the one based on cakes.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, who was the general for that one? Who was the commander for that one?
No, that would be in the Kyoryuger one. That'll be a mix of Candelaria and Igalon, because it had a flip of.
I actually forgot, but this is it. But again, I forgot for Kyoryuger, but in Dino Charge it does not matter, Because yeah, it was like I'm trying to remember what the lesson was. Oh yeah, because they sort of made this rift between the Green Ranger and the Black Ranger. And it's like, oh come on guys, we're all a team. And then at the end they realise they're a team, happy, and then they fight together. You know, because that was the episode where Kyoryu Green took the Dino Charge battery. No, not Dino Charge battery. You know what were they called in? I can't remember what they were called in Kyoryuja now.
Judenchi.
The Zudenchi from... He took the Zudenchi from Kyoryu Black, and then Kyoryu Black took the Zudenchi from Kyoryu Green. So yeah, that was what that episode was from. So that's what they got from Kyoryu during that episode. So, you know, so if anything, they based it more on the Black Ranger and Green Ranger working together. And which I think they did do in the Sentai series, to be fair. But again, you know, when it came to the monster, it wasn't like, oh, which emotion is this one based under? It was just, oh, this is a monster wreaking havoc.
No, the thing is with this monster, though, that in Kyoryuja's version was, the happiness was like, okay, it was a patissier chef making cakes and sweets and everything, right? Okay, so that was the happiness. And then just when, it's all done, it would, flips its personality to either, I can't remember whether it was anger or sadness, but then it will turn into a complete different personality, and just whoever ate his cakes would have the biggest, exactly.
I mean, they did that in Dino Charge as well, but again, it didn't have to be tied down to a specific commander.
No, but then at least
that's what made it better.
Worked. The thing is it worked. You can tell that, okay, that makes sense, that was for that commander, as you would say.
But again, you know, obviously I'm taking one example, and fair enough if you associate that one with that emotion. But bearing in mind they had 40 plus different monsters of the week, and sometimes, you know, in my opinion, sometimes in Kyoryuja, I would find it a bit of a stretch saying, oh, why is this monster associated with this emotion? But again, Dino Charge in my opinion, Dino Charge will not have this problem.
Fair enough.
And that's wrapping up Dino Charge, by the way.
Fair. Otherwise, on my end, what have I seen so far? I honestly can't remember because you just completely made me forget. Anyway, starting with you.
Because I've been watching everything anyway. So what I want to talk about next is Ninja.
Yeah.
We're up to episode 3.
Yes.
Some people might have seen episode 4 Raw. But I've only seen up to episode 3.
Same.
Obviously, we did talk about episode 1 last time. So talking about episode 2 and 3, I'm actually really liking Ninja. I'll be honest, I'm actually liking everything at the moment. So maybe it's my optimism, but yeah.
Mind if I jump in on that?
Huh?
Mind if I jump in on that?
Oh, go on, you can start this one.
You sure?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, right, episode 2, I love the whole premise of Blue trying to surpass Red being the better magician / the better ninja and so on and so forth, using a magic twist to it, which I thought was rather different and interesting. I love the fact that they have that dragon form. I'm just going to call it dragon form, so to say, because it pretty much is.
It's Dragon Maru being, I think it's called...
Shurikenjin Drago.
Yeah, that's it.
Which the name-wise, anyway, I'm just going to call it Shurikenjin Dragon form. But anyway, I like it. I like that. I couldn't care less about Shinobi Maru just looking like hanging off a limb off the arm like that. But anyway, one gripe I've discovered since episode 2 leading on to episode 3 was the lack, or the factor that they have a lack of, and I quote, nintality. It's like ninja's mentality. That's basically where the so-called rubbish pun is supposed to be. And I'm like, really? I mean, yes, I understand that Sentai uses a lot of Western puns in their series, but this is one that like almost takes the biscuit beyond belief.
Well, you see, I mean, like I was saying to you in February, I knew I had a very strong feeling that, even though there was a lot of good hype for Ninja, apart from people not liking the name, I knew it was going to be a comedic take on being a ninja. I knew that from the off. And I believe I was dead right on this.
Yeah, I'd say comical. I would say definitely this, and also it feels that there's a lot of deliberate Easter eggs from previous Sentai series for some
Well,
reason.
yeah, that's because it's 40 years of Super Sentai. We've covered this a million times.
I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting that.
What's wrong with you? Anyway, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Palmaru, the elephant, but
Maru. No, Power Maru. That's
Pound,
the other.
Pound, yeah. But I'm not looking forward to UFO though, because that just looks like an utter.
I think that's going to be interesting. Actually, I will concur on that. I think that's going to be interesting. Well, not just if it's good or bad. I can't predict whether it's going to be good or bad, but I think it's going to be interesting either way, even if it's bad.
Okay, with respect, Palmaru comes out as a pair of double axes, or pair of single axes, whereas
I think FOMO
you.
is going to be a hat, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't your FOMO just going to be like some big ass hat?
No, 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 no. With any new Maru that comes in, they get new hats regardless, but then on top they get a new weapon slash thing. Pal Maru, you get a pair of single axes. UFO Maru, you get a triple
Pair of
barrel.
shields. Isn't it?
No, you get a triple barrel gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
don't
not
ask.
too bad then.
And then what was it? No,
Surf.
Surf
There's
Maru.
surf.
You literally, it's a surfboard. That's it.
Nice. I think they're going to use it as a shield though, because I saw it on the arms.
Anyway, but you get my gist, or you get the gist that in short, I'm looking forward to episode 4 that they're going to introduce Palmari. Moving on to Drive,
No,
unless if
about Ninja yet.
okay, fine, you go on then.
Right. I love the format of this show. Right. So I'm actually going to. I mean, yeah, I'm going to concur with you on quite a lot actually. I mean, episode 2, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's Blue trying to surpass Red. I mean, because they're all rookie when you think about it. But I liked how Blue Ranger, our ninja, has, like, he obviously he established from the beginning he has a magic background. But I like how he's using that to establish himself as being better for the job. And because like you look at because at first I was actually, when he started doing that in episode 2, I was instantly comparing him to Deca Blue Hoji, because he was like the one who was like, oh, I'm really good at what I do and I can surpass a lot of you. So yeah, I was kind of comparing him to Deca Blue.
I could almost see that, like the rivalry between Deca Blue and Red. Yes.
And then sort of shortly afterwards, I followed it up with comparing him to Gokai Blue, because I mean, they're all pirates in Gokaija. No, bear with me. And when you think of Gokai Blue and even Kyoryu Green, yeah, they're all like they've got their sort of establishment in the group, but it's about the fact that you look at Joe and Soji, and they're not just like, oh, Gokaija, he's there for being a pirate, and Kyoryuja, he's there because he likes dinosaurs. Soji was actually like, he had a hobby outside, he had a role outside of being a Kyoryuja. He was, what's the word? He was training to be a swordsman. He was doing kendo with his dad, right? So, so that sort of brought me to that. So, because normally the Sentai staple is when someone's in Sentai, but they have like a strength outside of the group, it's normally swordsmanship. Normally it's the Red Ranger, but in more recent years, again, like you got it for blue in Gokaiger, you got it for green in Kyoryuger, and you look at other series, and like you've got at least one person who's like, yeah, I'm a swordsman outside this group. So I kind of like that. But you look at our ninja, he is a magician outside the group, and he's brought that in as his strength to help fight. And yeah, I liked how he sort of had a bit of a flair of arrogance to it, as in how Hoji might have been, but Hoji played it down a bit, but he was still ice cool. Whereas like our ninja, he was really in your face about, oh yeah, I don't need this ninja crap, and I can beat Granddad, whatever. And I liked how that set off Aka Ninja. And and I do like this rivalry that they've got going on now. So when it comes to rivalry, you look at how like previous rivalries are. It's normally very character based, and that's fair enough. What I like about Ninja doing it this time around, I don't know whether they planned this, but you look at the merchandising side. They obviously saw the mecha. They're like, all right, let's make red and blue interchangeable as the main part of the mecha. So they've actually, I feel, even though this is a gimmick for the merchandising, they've actually incorporated this into the story. So the reason you've got a dragon mode, the reason you've got Shurikenjin Drago, or I'm sure it's called Shurikenjin Dragon, but whatever. The reason, like they've said, the reason that that's there isn't just for a gimmick for the toy, but they're saying, well, look, red and blue have got this rivalry to be the last ninja, so that's the reason behind it, and I really like that. I believe that justifies having a different mode for Shurikenjin. But the one thing I was thinking towards episode 2, because they've got this thing going on about, oh, who's going to be the last ninja? I actually remember saying to myself, oh, actually, I reckon it's going to be Yellow Ranger, even though he's not part of this rivalry. And then episode 3 comes along, and then you sort of see it being focused on the Yellow Ranger.
On the subject of Yellow Ranger in episode 3, do you feel that that's like a sort of reminder, should I say? Although I haven't watched that, I will say this now, straight off the bat. No, hang on. No, sorry, rephrase. I've seen episode 3, but I was going to say, does it feel like it's like a reference to Mega Ranger in that it's like because he's doing like a schoolboy textbook kind of thing?
I'll be honest, I've not seen Mega Ranger.
That's my point. But if you see where I'm coming from with that kind of reference, that he's so head in the textbooks kind of thing, that does that...
Well, they've done it in Sentai enough times, like, to actually think outside the box. Yeah, again, I won't get your Mega Ranger reference, but... alright, that on its own, I like the lesson behind that. I like the moral of the story behind that. But again, talking specifically about the whole Last Ninja thing. I like, even though I was watching episode 2 and I'm like, oh, I reckon it's going to be Yellow Ranger just for shits and giggles. But then they threw him into the ring in episode 3 anyway. But then they left episode 3 with him thinking, do I really care about being the last ninja? Or, I don't know, it can be another thing to add to my list of licenses or whatever. So I liked that, but I kind of disliked the fact that it took away my sort of prediction, because it would have been more outrageous for him to have become the last ninja, bearing in mind Blue and Red are fighting over it. But I do like the attitude that, which one is it? Momo Ninja? Yeah, the pink one. I like the attitude that Momo Ninja brings. She is sort of like, she's got like a clever head on her, and the way she talks to our ninja is in episode 2 is quite cool. And, just sort of the influence she has. I do kind of think Shiro Ninja, she's just being like the peppy girl, really.
Yes.
Kawaii, or whatever you want to call it.
But that's the thing, I don't get that kawaii thing or the cutesy thing. I don't get that this season.
Well, that's it. I think they just...
I don't get it.
regardless.
The what?
They'll throw it in regardless.
Yeah, they will. But I just don't get it yet. It's not as in your face and like already there, like all the like let's say Kyoryuja or Gokaija, for instance. Like sorry, not Kyoryuja. Better reference. Tokuja, for instance. Like you can already tell with that kind of Lolita style that that they're there for the presence. Whereas with Momo Ninja, it's like
You mean Shiro Ninja?
yeah, Shiro Ninja. My bad. It's like it's just a figure there, and it's like, oh, I forgot you were there, kind of thing.
Well, that's it. Because I mean, unless they're going to do something in a later episode, it doesn't give Shiro Ninja. Yeah, even though she's meant to be Aka Ninja's sister, doesn't really give her a presence.
Yeah,
the last
that's
thing I'm going to talk about for Ninja.
Yeah.
Is that I mean, I actually thought that there wasn't going to be the granddad. Yeah, they were just going to talk about the granddad. Obviously, episode 1, they're like, "Ha, I'm still alive," and I kind of feel a bit mixed about his comic relief status at the moment. I mean, maybe later on he'll be serious, I think, but even then, that's still debatable. But I just think, yeah,
with the granddad. Do you feel it's a now I'm gonna go on a limb here and having a hunch. Do you feel that it's like their take of spoofing Stan Lee from Marvel? The reason I say that is because you know how Stan Lee deliberately appears in all the Marvels and like as an extra, but slyly somehow they slyly feed him in. Whereas this one, it feels like
again, he's just being an extra in his own production.
Yes. Whereas
I disagree totally. I know what you're saying, but I disagree with it.
And then the fact that the granddad, this granddad guy, he just he stamps his foot, and then all of a sudden, their new dojo appears, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
That's why it's got a comedic value. That's why he's got comedic value, man. I'm just surprised that I don't know. I don't think
you're surprised the captain.
No. At this moment in time, I'm not sure what he adds to the series. I mean, comedic value. Yeah, the Rangers themselves do that. So yeah. I like choreography is good.
I'm actually interested, and I'm actually going to say this in episode 3 when they bring in that new commander guy thing, and then he has a joust with Red, and then and then they both leave, and then that guy tells him for Red to become next time they fight, he expects him to become stronger. I like that they leave it as such, so you know that they will somehow get stronger.
Sometimes so many times before, though.
As much as it has, but at least it leaves you on an interest on how. It's the how.
Oh, that's something that TV Nihon's been talking about lately. That cat commander thing is actually a male? Yeah.
Because I saw the question between whether if it's a he or she.
He.
Okay.
Well, TV Nihon's saying he. Frankly, looks like a she to me. Plus, it's a cat, so most cats are she's, isn't it? For some reason. But yeah, apparently that's a male character, and that surprised me really. But I don't.
But anyway, for the viewers, if you think it's a female, do comment below.
Anyway, so are we going to move? Shall we move on? Kamen Rider Drive.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I'll start. Yeah, I'll start. I will say, episode-wise, what episode am I on? Episode 21. Not feeling very inspired by events, in recent episodes. I mean, yeah, sure, you've got Let's. Oh, this is. I can't. I only watched it the other day. I can't even remember what happened. You know, like they, yeah, like they left it on a cliffhanger for Formula. They left it on a cliffhanger for Formula. But the lead up to it, I'm just like, don't really care. I mean, this is it, because you got that woman, Medic. You got Medic sort of like, oh, I've got some new Grim Reapers, but then they just end up being killed after one episode. It's like, oh, that was worth it. And yeah, so it's just like some massive. I don't like the last couple of episodes just being a run up to Formula, really.
I see where you're coming from, but I wasn't looking at the lead up to Formula Way. I was leading up to more the story of Chase Way.
Not really, because again, they established, oh, he's been reprogrammed. He's not being a Grim Reaper anymore. He's just after the Kamen Riders.
No. But like, you forgot one touch though.
Because he's protecting the Romuloids now, he's not able to fulfill his role as Grim Reaper. So now he's just like, alright, he's protecting the Romuloids, and is that how it's pronounced?
Roy
Mudos, yeah, Roy Mudos. He's protecting the Roy Mudos, and he's after the Kamen Riders. It's like, alright.
You forgot one touch though.
What?
Remember when, just before Chase went after the Riders again, that a brain dropped a bit of his power within to Chase anyways?
Yeah.
So that's going to be influential, I think.
Meh. Well, I mean, of course, we haven't covered, future news. I mean, again, bearing in mind, I've not got much to say about the last few episodes of Drive. Anyway.
If anything, I don't want to say as much as I want to say stuff about Formula, I can't because I haven't seen enough.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I said the other day he looked like a Transformer. But anyway, the one thing I will say, have you seen in the news what Kamen Rider Chase looks like?
But only the rough scan.
Have you not seen the behind the scenes video they uploaded of him fighting with, I think it was either Mac Dead Heat or Mac Dead Heat?
You just said that twice.
That's some video. I was actually.
You just said the same freaking thing twice.
Because I've been watching Power Rangers since the beginning of time. Like I'm used to, like, when you get the hit and the pyrotechnics go off, you just hear this. Yeah, like it sounds very like sound engineered really well. Watching the behind the scenes where it's just like, it sounded really weird to me. I'm just like, that just sounds weird.
Okay, I will look into what Chaser looks like for that one.
Yes. I mean, no, alright. Do you want me to spoil it for you? I mean, again, this will spoil it for anyone watching it that hasn't seen it anyway.
Okay, in a nutshell, okay, spoiler alert. No, one sec. Doesn't it pretty much look like Drive meets Joker?
I don't know.
You know what Joker looks like.
My opinion is... Alright, shall I say? My opinion is Kamen Rider Chaser looks somewhat... I'm not saying that much, but somewhat similar to Kamen Rider Force.
Ooh, that's deep.
That's my opinion, to be fair.
Because no. Because at my first glance, I thought it was more like Joker. You know, like doubles the black.
Yeah, the black one. Yeah.
Yeah, black and purple. So Joker.
No, it's more like Force. Well, shape wise. I mean, obviously, yeah, color wise, maybe. Is there any more we're going to talk about on Drive?
I don't have. Okay, I'll be honest. I hope that there is something major for this story to lead towards. Because at the moment, I don't see a whole cohesive or big story. Like Wizard had one, Kiva had one, you know. I'm just hoping that there's this major story that I want to go back on the rails for. Whereas at the moment, yeah, don't get me wrong, like you mentioned, you hate it, but I don't mind like 2-part detective shows. I don't mind it, but I'm hoping on the sideline.
Like,
One second. I'm hoping that there's like a major story for me to get back into, really get interested in.
Well, I mean, when you come to, when you're talking about the sort of side story of them being detectives and that, there is, I can't remember the name of him, but I think it was episodes 19 and 20, or 18 and 19 or something, where you had the chief detective who had his senpai, and they went around trying to look for a killer from 5 years ago,
Yes.
and then
Again.
yeah, and then there was like something like that, and then it turned out that the senpai did a deal with Roy Mudo, and blah blah blah, and what was his name? The judge. So there was all that stuff going on. I thought that was quite good, and I liked how it took focuses off the Kamen Riders. I did like that.
What did you think of the other one that there was the other Roy Mudo that copied one of...
The geek, the otaku. Yeah, I obviously watched that.
I think it started weak, but then it grew.
To me, that felt a bit like a filler episode.
But it was an okay one.
Alright, it wasn't bad. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy it, but it's still, coming off of it, it's like, it was a bit of a filler, really.
But do you remember how the way that
Yes, absolutely. That's it. I didn't quite get it. I mean, I made a lot of assumptions because you had them looking the same, you had them acting the same. It's just that one jumped for the plate and one fell over. It's like, to what deduction did they say that the guy who caught it was the Roy Mudo?
2 reasons.
So I made the assumption. I made the assumption that it's the fact that he was able to jump for it, and the other guy was just a nerd so he fell over.
No. Because one, it was a limited edition collectible plate that you didn't want to break, and two, the factor that Drive threw it so high in the air that he just jumped inhumanly.
So the Roy was able to catch it because the normal geek wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I just said. That was my assumption, but I didn't feel that they confirmed it that great when they did the chat afterwards. I'm like, wait a minute, what have they confirmed here? Whatever. But yeah, to me, it was still an enjoyable episode, but I felt it kind of felt a bit fillerish, really.
Otherwise, what else? I'm just hoping for some big story
from Drive.
Drive. Yeah, honestly, I'm just waiting for something big.
I don't know. All right. Anything else you want to cover on any other Toku?
Ish. Next month will be Australia's Supernova, so it's the start of the comic book year, or shall I say comic book convention year. So we've got our major four being in the order as Supernova, Melbourne Comic Con, Armageddon, and then PAX. And, well, PAX don't count because that's a gaming one, but anyway. And I am hoping to see a certain someone at Supernova.
Yay.
JDF.
Jammy Mofo.
No, it doesn't stand for Jammy Mofo. Jason, don't.
Mo begins with M.
No, because you started with Jammy Mofo.
Yeah, but there's no D in there anyway.
Whatever. Anyway.
No, for you. And I hope you have fun meeting him.
Well, starting off with the hope that I meet him.
Yeah, man. Alright, well, okay. I mean, I was talking about the world in Toku, not just your excitement for a convention. But no, I like the fact that you've included convention news in here. Alright.
Other Toku news, what else is there to really cover?
Right, apart from what's currently airing, is there any Toku you're watching? Like, even old Toku?
Depends if you count Beast Wars as Toku.
No.
Really?
Beast Wars as in Optimus Primal.
Yeah, as in Transformers Beast Wars, the only CGI Beast Wars.
Optimus Primal, yeah, I have watched Beast Wars. I watched the first series, and no, I'm not counting that as Toku at all. I don't know, I mean, I think I've heard people talking about Transformers like it's Toku. I mean, TV Nihon subbed a Transformers series or two, but I personally am like, alright, there's a lot of Toku elements to it, and you could classify it as Toku just because it's got mecha in it, but no, I wouldn't personally. And I'm not saying that I'm the lord of declaring what's what, but no, just in my opinion, no.
If the viewers would like to input as to what their opinion is in regards to if Transformers Beast Wars is or isn't Toku, do comment below.
Well, I think just the Transformers franchise in general, really, because I don't think so. And you obviously do think so.
I think Beast Wars is unique on its own. I think Beast Wars is unique on its own because it's like a prequel to the whole original series. It's like the build up to it.
Prequel, though, it's like a sequel.
No,
and then
it's not. It's not.
Oh, is it a prequel?
Even though it was aired after the originals.
15, 20 years ago, so I
One second. You had G1, you had G2, and then after Armada or whatever, right? You get you get Beast Wars, but it's set before G1.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, in short, it's basically Beast Wars is set before Prime was even activated.
Alright.
Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, in short...
just leave it, man. I don't know.
Beast Wars is set before the original Transformers.
It's 15, 20 years since I last watched Beast Wars, man. Since I first watched Beast Wars. Since the only time I watched Beast Wars.
Just go watch it for me. Just go watch it.
Right. I'm actually going to talk about something that is actually classed as Toku because I've been talking about it for a while.
Oh no, Dragon Knight.
I am up to episode 14 of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Alright, I mean, seeing as you're not watching it, I'll just cover it briefly. I mean, then again, you're not watching Dino Charge either. But I will say, it's much more simple. Again, I don't know if it's an American thing or what, but it's much more simplified than RyuKiva. It's easier to follow. I do like the story, and sort of, where they've not just copied and pasted from RyuKiva. But the one thing that massively lets down Dragon Knight is the dialogue. And I know you're playing with your phone. Right, the one thing that lets Kamen Rider Dragon Knight down is the dialogue. They deal with characters like Aunt Grace's shop and stuff, and just the way that the characters talk to each other, it just seems very superficial.
Explain.
They'll spend like 2-3 minutes talking about how Aunt Grace is having trouble lifting books. It's like, this is a bit pathetic, really. So again, I will say the dialogue really lets the show down. And then, there's another example where the journalist's friend will just start talking about her hair for like 100 minutes. It's like, I don't care. So the dialogue really lets Dragon Knight down, but it's much more simplistic. I mean, you had RyuKiva sort of, every rider was out for themselves to become the top rider, and you had Odin going around them saying Tatakai, Tatakai, Tatakai.
Right? Reason.
Obviously within reason, but that's you literally just had that in your face through RyuKiva, right?
No. But at least, with respect, with all however many riders there were in RyuKiva, that each one had their own reason to be the top rider, so that when they win, if they were the one to win, that they would get one wish granted, whatever it was.
Right. But this is it. This is the clever thing about Dragon Knight, right? So rather than having like the way
Battle
that
Royale.
the way that Ryuki was done, there was that. But again, it was just so in your face all the time. Whereas the clever thing about Dragon Knight is you've got the. I mean, this is it because if I remember correctly, Ryuki only had Odin, like the girl's brother, as the guy behind the mirror, right? Whereas, alright, on one hand, in Dragon Knight, it's some random guy. His name's Xaviax, and he's got his own monster form, but he's also got a human form, right? Now, he's got a war against because the Riders were originally people who were protecting the planet, who were protecting the mirror world. I think my camera's gone weird, by the way. Were protecting the mirror world, which they called Ventura for some reason. And basically everyone except Wing Knight, I think that's the same name as the Japanese one.
Nice.
As the recent one. Yeah, so Wing Knight was the only one that was left. And basically the way that it worked for those who had the Kamen Rider powers is they had to go into the Earth world to find the exact mirror copies of people, or the original copies of people, to become Kamen Riders. Now, Wing Knight's going around telling people, saying, oh, yeah, we need you to fight to defeat this guy, otherwise he's going to take over your world just like he took over the mirror world, which, again, they call Ventura. But then you've got Xaviax, who's actually going around looking for the original copies of the Riders as well. But he's like, all right, rather than saying, win the battle, you get one wish, he's saying, I know what you want, but you defeat everyone else, you will get what you want. But he's telling people different reasons as to why they should fight to get what they want. So, like, the guy who plays, let me think, I've got to get this right now. Basically, you've got the guy who plays, what's the name of the green one in Ryuki? The one who was in Ryuki, he was like a rich
comedian.
Lawyer guy. No, not comedian. He had like the big bazooka and stuff. I mean, he's called Kamen Rider Talk in Dragon Knight.
Oh, the weapons one.
Huh?
The weapons one.
Right, because in Ryuki, the character was like a lawyer guy who was dying.
Yeah.
And was to stay alive.
I don't remember the Kamen Rider name to that one.
Right. Well, again, that was the Ryuki version. The Dragon Knight version is, he's like a con man who's fed up of planet Earth. So Xaviax is like, all right, you kill off all the other riders. I'll make you a general in my army when I take over both worlds, right? So that's for him. And then you've got the Stingray Kamen Rider, the one that's based on a Stingray.
There isn't one.
There is one, because I know in Dragon Knight he's called Kamen Rider Sting. He's called Kamen Rider Sting.
There's a Scorpion.
Right, the Scorpion died off very early on. And that's actually the same in both Ryuki and Dragon Knight.
Hang on. Oh, Sting. Right, hang on a minute, because you got Scorpion, you've got a dragon, you've got a bat, you've got a tiger, you've got the swan, you've got a bull, which is the weapons guy, you've got crab, you've got a cobra.
That's one that was killed off early on. The crab was the one that
was killed off early. You've got the cobra.
Yeah.
Right.
He's called Kamen Rider Strike in Dragon Knight.
You've got
Right, you've forgotten the Stingray character. Let's just put it that way. But I guarantee you there is a Stingray character in Ryuki and Dragon Knight. I guarantee it because I'm watching Dragon Knight at the moment. I swear. Anyway. So the Stingray character that you are. I actually can't remember the Ryuki version, but the Dragon Knight version is a guy who couldn't get into the military, so Xaviax comes along and says, "Alright, join my army. You will be able to fight to protect Earth, not just your country," which I thought was a good spin. And again, this is basically the way that he, and then when you talk about how Ryuki was a battle royale.
Damn you!
Yeah, I know. You've just Googled it, haven't you?
Yes.
Anyway, so now the way you're talking about, I mean, I do remember Ryuki being a battle royale, and again, Odin going around saying Tatakai really drove me nuts. But with the one that was based on a rhino, I can't even remember the Dragon Knight name, let alone the Ryuki name. The one that was based on a rhino, the character, his name's Brad something. He was basically like, someone's taken away my right to be a BMXer or something, motocross champion. So Xaviax comes on and says, right, well, I've got the proof to say that you're innocent from rigging the match or something. And then he goes, right, so if you want to do this, you've got to fight in a battle where you've got to battle everyone. And the one person I want you to beat first is Wing Knight. And so that was almost like, making fun of Ryuki in a sense. But then it didn't take long for him to be told by Talk, actually, that's all rubbish. Or was it? No, I think, well, this is it, because Dragon Knight himself is going around telling all the people brainwashed by Xaviax, Xaviax bullshitted you. Really, he's trying to take over, him and Wing Knight, actually, is going around saying, Xaviax is going around chatting shit, don't listen to him. Which, is a bit comical when you put it like that, but again, I like how they've not just copied and pasted Ryuki. They did make a genuine effort. I do think it's sad that it didn't, because again, they plan to release a film of Dragon Knight. And again, the one thing that lets it down, and again, I'm going to wrap up talking about Dragon Knight now. Again, the one thing that's letting it down overall is just its dialogue. I mean, again, I've still got so many more episodes to go, and then I'm going to go on to Cougar. But no, I will say I actually do like the original storyline, with a few references to Ryuki in it. But the one thing that does let it down is dialogue. But if you can get past the rubbish dialogue, it is actually an enjoyable series, in my opinion. And that's me wrapping up Dragon Knight.
Fair enough. Now, just what else is there in regards to?
I think we're done, but I'm going to drop one more thing before signing off.
I've got one for you after.
All right, no, you I want to sign off, so you go. So right. I'm just talking about Dragon Knight.
Yeah. Would you say Pacific Rim could be classified as Toku in its own way? Right. Would you, and for the viewers as well, be interested in doing a separate review on Pacific Rim?
No. Because I saw it like 100 years ago. But it was an enjoyable... Alright, I'll just tell you now, I thought it was an enjoyable film.
And Godzilla?
I haven't seen that yet. I saw the one in 2000, I haven't seen the 2014 one yet. Alright, calm down. Obviously Godzilla's a Toku, everyone knows that. But not... Oh, that's weird. I consider Godzilla a Toku, but I don't consider Transformers a Toku. Maybe I should rethink it.
Maybe you should rethink in watching it.
No, that was like 100 years ago.
No. I meant the recent one.
It's time to get to Dragon Knight.
Yeah, well, it's amazing.
I want to watch Cougar after Dragon Knight, so there. Alright, so can I... One more quick thing to sign off with, yeah? Bearing in mind we've been talking for like a million minutes.
Yes.
Right, now, I think it was the last Toku Talk, we were talking about Power Slash Rangers. Right? The Joseph Kahn film. The one with the Black Ranger kicking the arse of North Korea.
Oh, the R-rated Power Rangers short vlog things.
Right. If you thought that was bad, About a week or so ago, and I rewatched it just before recording this. There's this really messed up Power Ranger parody? Well, it's not really a parody. I don't know what the hell it is. I suggest you look it up, and anyone watching this worth their metal looks it up. Just go on YouTube and type in Power Rangers Visit Sesame Street. No, do it. You do it. Everyone has to do it. Oh no, I think it was like Power Rangers on Sesame Street. It is trust me, Power slash Rangers. You know, Joseph Kahn spent his own money on the budget for that fan film. Trust me, Power Rangers on Sesame Street. You're done. Yeah, Joseph Kahn should hang his head in shame right now, is all I'm going to say. Is that his name? Joseph Kahn? Anyway. Yeah. Power Rangers Visit Sesame Street. Watch
it. Actually, I forgot to mention, speaking of Power slash Rangers, as you call it that, anyways. Like a month or two before that, I think I mentioned this to you. I don't know if we actually touched on it quickly. And I mean, just literally, I'll touch on quickly. Did you watch the one where you had the parody-esque of actors acting as the original Rangers before they became the Rangers, so they were still at school?
No.
So it's like literally the build-up when Angel Grove gets invaded and everyone was in detention, basically. It was actually an interesting...
Good kids, man. But no. I haven't, no.
No. But it was actually an interesting... you had everyone around in the room and everyone interacting with each other, and it was an interesting interaction just to get to know. So rather than having the action, it was more about the interaction and the character, which actually was rather interesting. So that's one you should have a look at.
What's it called?
I don't know.
Alright, well, I think we've been talking for long enough, so we should sign off. I've been Flayvaman, and he's
Alright, hang on. Right, you want to sign this one off?
I just did.
Well, anyway, I've been Master Rider Bushido. Well, anyway, first things first, thank you for joining for another episode. And he's been the Flayvaman, and I've been Master Rider Bushido. And as always, yeah, it's been Cam!
Fist through the cam.
You just killed that.
You killed it. You didn't let me sneeze. Alright, guys.
Join us next time!
See you next time.